This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2020 Flagstaff Lite 21 DS. Okay, here I am on the door side of the trailer. You have scissor type stabilizers that use a crank that's supplied with it, or you can use a 3/4 inch socket or drill attachment to raise them up and down. You got a power awning with LED strip, outside speakers. This is the vent for your range hood. There's a baffle there, and in each corner there's a little push button type latch. If you are going to use the fan in the range hood, you want to push those buttons up so the baffle here flaps freely, so you can vent properly from the trailer to the outside. This is where your grill hangs, your griddle, and you also have a utility table that hangs on here. And there is a quick connect right there for your LP hose to supply gas to it. You've got a TV bracket, power and antenna out right here to hang a TV. Your stairs fold out of the trailer and back into the trailer. To adjust the legs, this pin right here, you can see it. You pull that out and the legs have holes in it so you can adjust them to the terrain. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. This is your hitch. We'll go over the hitch with you when you pick up your trailer, but also you can refer to their video links at Husky Centerline, and they have hookup videos also to refresh your memory. Alrighty, more storage. This is just a hookup for if you wanted to get a solar panel to charge your battery, you can do that. And you plug it in right there. Okay, let me pull your tanks off here. I'm going to have to turn the camera away here. I need two hands to do this. Wow. Okay. Alright, so you got two 30-pound tanks. This is an automatic changeover regulator, so it'll draw this one down, then this one down, and back and forth. This is not a tank selector, this is a gauge. You can see it's green, and the indicator's pointed at this tank. That means there's gas in the tank. You point it at that tank, it means there's gas in the tank. If it turns red, it's empty. You got a deep cycle marine battery. You have a kill switch right down there to shut your battery off, so you don't have to unhook a cable or anything when you put it into storage. All you have to do is turn the switch off. But you only turn it off when you're putting it in storage. Otherwise, you're going to keep it turned on. Okay, this crank goes in the top of the tongue jack. In case it ever fails, you can just pull this plug out of the top, and you don't have to make that noise, you just can pull it out. And this is your stabilizer crank. This one right here is for your slide out in case it was ever to fail. I'll walk back around the other side to show you where it goes. Hopefully it's going to be easy to find. I don't see the hole, but that means it's probably right down here. Oh yeah, it's behind the step here. So you would have to, first of all, to work these steps, you always got to open the door up like that so it doesn't bind. But through this hole right here, maybe I can get a picture of it. Otherwise, you'll just have to trust me that it's there. There is a hookup. I'll look underneath for you. Maybe you can see it right there. You can put that crank right on there. It takes about 1,001 cranks in order to get the slide out in or out, but it does work. It beats trying to drive home with your slide out in the out position, or camping with it in for that matter. Not that it's going to fail, they're very reliable, but you never know. It just gives you that option. While we're standing here, there's two ways to get water to your trailer. You may already know this. I don't know how much you know about trailers. So the most common way is the fresh water hookup. This is the second most common. This is to fill the onboard fresh water tank. If you go to a campground that doesn't have plumbing on the campsite, you can fill this tank ahead of time and pump your own water. So you would fill it right there, and you would use the onboard water pump. I'll show you where that switch is at inside, and you can just pump the water, no problem. These are just storage here. Okay, your slide out is in right now. So these are your dump valves. I'll put them closed. Right now we've been water testing it so it's open, but all right, that's closed. This one is their black tank valve. black tank obviously is toilet water and waste. The gray tank valve is for gray water, which is sink and shower water. So you're going to put your hose on here, put the other end in the dump station, then you'll pull the black first. And you just let it dump. Then you'll pull the gray. You do that because the gray water is cleaner than the black water, so it just helps clean out the hose. Now, you're keeping the black tank open, you can come right here to this right here. You hook up the hose at the dump station to this. This is the black tank flush. Just make sure you leave the black tank open, or valve open. You turn on the water, and it'll clean out your black tank even better, okay? This is just cable and satellite through. This is your fresh water hookup that I was telling you about. This is the most common way to get water. You just hook your hose up there, turn it on, and you're all set. This has to do with winterizing. You can draw antifreeze through that line when you winterize. Always make sure you bypass your water heater. The water heater has to be bypassed because you can't get antifreeze into the hot water tank or it'll leave a foul taste and smell. So you have to educate yourself a bit on that. This is where your power cable hooks up, your short cord. It's 30 amp. 25 feet long. That's just a service panel for your refrigerator. This is an outside shower. That's just where you can hook up a tray or a box or something for storage. Okay. The switch is to operate your water heater on the inside of the trailer, but I have to show you that there is a switch here. That's a kind of a holdover from when the switch was outside, but if you can see it, that's an it says on and off. It's a rocker switch. You have to turn it on in order to ignite this, or to send power to this. Although there is another switch inside. Okay, you have to both of them have to be on basically. You never want to run the heating element without water in the tank, or run the burner without water in the tank. Like I stated, this works on either gas or electric. And I'll show you the switches when we get inside. Down here, just so you know, that's the drain for it. It's an 1 1/16 socket to drain it. Okay. You have a ladder, so you can get on the roof easy, which is great because you want to inspect the roof of this trailer like every other trailer. You want to inspect at least 3 times a year. Figure the spring and the fall, and once in the middle of the summer, you go up there, you walk around. No problem walking. If you can't do it, have somebody else do it. You look at all the sealant, make sure it's good and tight, no cracks or separation. If you do see that, when you do see that some year, you're going to have it taken care of, but the idea is to inspect it just to make sure, okay? You have a backup camera here, which we'll show you how to operate that. Basically, when you turn your running lights on, it activates the camera. All right. Okay, so let's go inside. So you want your door open all the way. You just grab a hold of the steps. It's got a spring in it to counterbalance it, so it works really easy. Right there. So in you go. Okay. Now, I just want to show you what this is. This is a slide bar lock. This is to keep the slide from bouncing up and down and compromising the seal for a split second so water drips in and that sort of thing. So you basically, this just goes up on top, right? And you put it there, and once the slide out is in or out, you'll be able to see the sticker. But you put it behind this cushion here, and you're just basically placing it in there to keep it from bouncing up and down. All right. So that's what that's actually for. It's not so the slide out doesn't go out when you're traveling and stuff like that. Some people will tell you that, but it has to do with it bouncing up. And if it goes up like this, it's hard for me to show you because I'm so close, but if it bounces up like that, the top seal can be compromised a bit and water can trickle in, for example. That just keeps that from happening. Okay. All right, so here we are at your control panel. So I'm going to send your slide out. So out it goes. You just keep holding the button. Always make sure there's no cupboard doors or anything in the way that's going to bind up with this. So here we go. As soon as you start hearing the ratcheting sound, you know you're all the way out or all the way in. That just keeps it from overextending or over retracting. So we're getting close. As soon as you hear that, you take your finger off the button. Like that. Okay. So, okay. Here we are back at the panel. So let's go over this stuff here. All right. Your awning is very simple. You're just going to extend it. You'll be able to see it here. You can see it going out right there. You just roll it out until you can see the awning tube. Never leave it out unattended if you're leaving the campsite. you always want to roll it in so the wind doesn't damage it, okay? You can check your levels right here. You can see there's 2/3 water in there. That's just, or no, I'm sorry, that's your battery. I'm sorry. Water, there's 1/3 of water in there. We're just water testing it still. So it'll graduate up in 1/3 increments as it fills. So will the black tank, the gray tank, which are both empty. Your lights. This is the Wi-Fi Ranger. Your Wi-Fi Ranger is a signal booster. It's basically a router that creates a network inside your trailer. So it's for public Wi-Fi. So on your phone or tablet, you'll look for Sky4 LTE 1438, which is your Wi-Fi Ranger. That's the one you'll hook up to with your devices. To see what the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, you'll use this IP address here, and you'll use this temporary password, change me now 1438, in order to access it. You can see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, so you'll be able to hook up to that. It's a signal booster. It's a good thing. Now there's a second function that involves wherever you get your cell phone service from. You can pay. It'd be like paying for another phone, basically. You can put a SIM card in it. You can have cellular service to your Wi-Fi Ranger, so you just have more connectivity to the outside world. That's something you're going to pay for, though. Most people just use the free public Wi-Fi aspect of it, and unless you really need to. If you work from your trailer or something like that, you might want the paid version, but most people just go with the free stuff. Okay, I went a long way to say that, but I got it out. This tells you about your slide travel lock, so read that. I explained it a little bit to you. All right, so your water pump, if you're carrying your own onboard water or winterizing the trailer, you're going to go like this. To turn your water heater on gas, there. To turn it on electric is right there. Now, you always make sure there's water in the tank before you do that, of course. And like I said, you got to bypass the water heater before you pump any antifreeze into it, because you don't want to get any antifreeze into the water heater tank, because it'll leave a foul taste and smell that won't go away. So they give you bypass valves on the back of the water heater to do that. You'll have to educate yourself a bit about that, if you don't already know, that is. Okay, this is a disc player. DVDs and CDs. You can stream off the USB stick here. You can hook up wirelessly with Bluetooth and play your MP3s off your phone or tablet. 2 speaker zones. 1 is inside, 2 is outside. You can go into the system through from this HDMI in if you wanted to use like a game machine to keep kids busy on a rainy day or something. You could just set it here, plug it in, and go straight into the system. It goes through the TV, set it off, so you have a sound bar there also. The TV works like any other TV. That bracket that it's on snaps into place, so you want to make sure it's locked in place before you start traveling with it. All right. So you got everything you need when it comes to entertainment. This device here is your power converter. It converts AC down to DC power. So you can see you got regular 110 AC on this side. You got regular household circuit breakers. They're all labeled. Then you get to this side. You got 12-volt fuses here. This is a 12-volt DC side, and they're labeled. If any of these fuses were to blow, it'll light up, and you can see them through this tinted plastic here. It's still got the shipping plastic on it. Let me just take that off here. Okay. And you'll actually, they'll light up, and you can see them through that tinted plastic. Now, this is also a battery tender, so as long as you're plugged in, it'll send power to your battery to keep it charged. If it's totally charged, it'll just trickle a couple amps. If it's low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever it needs. Okay, just look in the drawer and see if we got anything in there. Okay, just while we're looking at this housing came with it, with the camera. There was already one on there from the factory. This is your screen and everything is in here. This is your tire monitor. Monitors tire temperature and pressure. Okay, you got 2 remotes, one for the TV, one for the stereo. Okay. Now, of course, you know that this is a Murphy bed. Basically, you just jackknife this couch flat by pulling this bottom cushion up. It jackknifes flat, and then you just bring this down. It locks into place. Make sure you pull the release knob that's over here. It'll be down here in this position down here. Release it before you put it up. You have power vent here and the power vent in the bathroom, which is really good for those days it's not cold or warm enough for air conditioner. You got 4 speeds. It's a good thing. Okay, and you got a vent cover over it so you can keep it open during the rain, or even when you put it in storage. You could open each one of them a little bit to get some airflow to keep mildew and that sort of thing from growing. Anyway, the table's in the down position. To get it to collapse, you're just going to turn this, or push this button to the left, or excuse me, to the right. So it's down right now, and it should always be down when you're traveling. Never leave the table up because it can bounce around and break something. Okay? Turns into a bed, obviously. You got a countertop extension. The microwave works like any other microwave. You have a range hood with a fan. I told you about opening the baffle on the outside to make sure it vents to the outside. You have light here. Your thermostat is self-explanatory. You just all the way over to cool, that to the right to heat. Fan is just the air conditioner running without the compressor. Okay. This, I don't know if our tanks are on right now, so I don't know if it'll light, but you're just going to go to light. You're going to depress it. Yeah, so we have gas. So you just depress the button. It sparks like so, and that's how you light it. You got 3 burners. The oven is a little bit different, although you do spark it. On the bottom here, all the way to the back, is a pilot light. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the oven knob, you get it to pilot, you depress it and hold it. Then you spark it, and you keep sparking it till the pilot light lights down there. When it lights, you're still holding this down, it's still depressed. So you hold it for another 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever, after it lights. To heat it up, then you go to the operating temperature. It cycles on and off like a regular oven, but when you turn it off, obviously the flame goes off, but so does the pilot light. So you got to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. Okay, just let me look through here. This is I told you about for your griddle. You have to plug it in, plug in the gas line, connect it with the quick connects. There's your hose for it, and a spatula, of course. This is a water filter canister. Excuse me, this is a water filter that goes in a water filter canister if you choose to use it. If you don't, that's fine. A lot of people don't drink the water, so they don't worry about it. But if you do, you have to change it every year. So you throw it out in the fall and put a new one in after dewinterizing in the spring. This is the wrench to spin the housing off. This is a controller for your heated mattress or your warming mattress. It's actually a mattress warmer, not a heater. This plugs into the mattress on the left side. This plugs into 110, and that's just an analog thermostat. Okay. All right, and that is your griddle there, and that is the rack underneath the table, it looks like. Okay. Moving along. Your refrigerator is a gas absorption refrigerator, so it'll work on 110 AC or it'll work on LP gas. That happens up here. So it's on right now, but I'll shut it off. So to turn it on, you go like that. Auto means electric. So you select auto, and it runs on electricity. The reason they call it auto is because it automatically searches for electricity. If it can't find 110 AC, it'll automatically switch over to gas. If you're using electricity, and let's say in the middle of the night the power goes off, it'll automatically switch over to gas so you don't spoil your food. Now you can run it on gas just by going like this if you want. It'll light. If this check light comes on, it means it faulted, it didn't light. So you just cycle it one more time. You turn it off and turn it back on, and it'll light the next time it goes through the cycle 3 times. So, okay. But generally speaking, you're going to have it on auto. Also, to set the cooling, see the sticker says cooler up here, low, warmer there. You just slide this thing up. It's called a thermistor. You want it up as high as it goes, generally speaking. If it's cold outside, you're going to have to back it off somewhat, but generally speaking, you're going to have it up all the way. Shower works like any other shower. You got a GFCI here. Every plug in the trailer and the one on the outside are wired through this one. So if you're using a coffee pot outside and it pops it, you reset it here. The toilet, you can't use. The bottom line is you can't use it dry. So let me go turn the pump on, because we looked and we saw that there was fresh water in the tank, so we can use that for this demonstration purposes here. So let me find it here. You're going to turn that on. So you see here, you can't hear the pump at all. When you turn it on, and basically when you turn a valve, the pressure will drop and the pump will start pumping. When you close it, the pressure builds up and it stops. So if you're using the pump with the freshwater tank, you don't have to turn it on and off each time. So you can see right there, it's flushing. And that water's going straight down to the black water tank, which is right below it. So the bottom line is you can't use this dry. So as soon as you get to the campground, you're going to park in your spot, obviously. You're going to hook up your electricity and your water. Then you'll come in here. Your black tank is empty, of course. You'll come in here and you'll put chemical in here, whichever chemical you use. Then you'll step on the pedal and put about a gallon of water in there, 2 gallons tops, but a gallon or 2 of water in there. There's no way to tell that exactly. You just use your common sense. The bottom line is there has to be water in there and chemical in order to use it. So let's say you're filled the black tank so you have to dump it, and you're still staying at the campsite for another week. Since you dumped your black tank, you'd come in here and you'd repeat the procedure. You'd put the chemical in there, step on it, put a gallon or 2 of water in there, and you're all set till you dump it next time. When you flush it, it only fills up to here, right? So you can, there's a spot here, right there, before the trap opens. You could just add as much water as you want before you use it, so you can fill it as high as you want before you use it, and then just flush it. You got to do that each time, okay? So you can't use it dry and without chemical. And of course there's your fan, and it's got a vent cover over it. Like I said, when you use the shower, always run the fan. If you're camping and it's a cool night and you're getting condensation from people's breath, for example, there's a bunch of people in here hanging out, run these 2 fans on low, and the condensation will just be pulled right out. You won't have an issue with it. Okay. This is just a charge station here. You got some more lights here. Okay. So, alrighty. And of course, to pull these couches have footrests here, 2 footrests, and you pull that out and it'll raise the footrest for you. All right. I know I'm racing through this, but I've only got a half hour to get these done with this phone before I have to start another file. So it's a race. This device down here is your carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. You can see it's green. It should always be green like that. It'll go off if it detects LP leak or carbon monoxide buildup. So if that happens, you take everybody outside, you shut off the tanks in the front, and figure out what's going on, okay? If it's not green, then you get it serviced, because it's a very important thing to have. Alright, so I think I've got everything covered here. Let me just look around, walk around the trailer. Let me see if they put a battery up here. Yes. Remember when I told you there's a sticker about placing the slide lock? When it's out, you can see it right there. So that goes up against here, and then the inside of this cushion when you've got the slide out in the in position. You always hang this tag over, because you will pull the fascia loose if you try to send it out with it in there. This is the fascia here. It's not the end of the world. It's just held on with brad nails, so you can put it back. It's just a pain. So try to remember, you leave that hanging out so you can see it. Okay, I wanted to show you something else. Every light LED has a button in the middle too, so you can select them independently. There we go. This is the antenna. It doesn't go up and down like it used to, but it rotates, right? So you can fine tune it that way. Also, one other thing, this just pulls away. I can't hold the camera on it. I got to use both hands, but it pulls away. It's a bracket, right? And it locks into place. Right there, you can see there's a catch, okay? But what I really wanted to show you was, see how that's green? That's the signal booster for the digital antenna. There's a little button on it. You can shut it off, but you always want it on when you're using the antenna, because you won't get a good picture without it. So when you put this away, I got to use both hands, but you just snap it into place like that, okay? All right, I think this is it now. Let me kind of walk through it. Look around. Here's one little thing. The blinds come down like this, of course, and they'll stay in position. Now, as you use it, they'll loosen up a bit, and maybe you'll find that it falls right down. So let's say you're out at west, you're in in the redwoods in Northern California, the big, huge ancient redwoods, and the thing just keeps falling down. Well, you don't have to get service. Basically, the tighter this is, the tighter this is, right? So all you do is you would take a number 2 square-headed screwdriver, which you need to have with you anyway because all the screws in here are number 2 square. You can get a bit for your drill also, but you would gently unscrew that, and you'll work this line through about a 1/2 inch, and then tie another knot in it so it's tighter. Screw it back on, so you tighten it up, and that'll solve your problem. It'll stay right where you want it to. Don't make it too tight, because if you do, you'll break. It'll snap eventually. But you just, like I said, a 1/2 inch, maybe even less. It just takes a little bit. So you can do that yourself if you ever need to, because I know a lot of people have the problem after they've been traveling for a while. So just tighten it up. Okay? Alright, so I think that's it. So you can call us if you have any issues, for sure. Every appliance in here has its own manual. That's in the brown packet that's on the table there. You can see it. You have all that information. There is the online video on how to operate this that you get on Forest River Inc. website, forestriverinc.com. And let's see. So yeah, and you can look at online videos. When it comes to winterization, you may not already know how to do that. You may be an experienced trailer camper. I don't know. I'm just assuming you're not, just because I don't want to leave things out in case you don't know it. But you can, when you winterize and draw through that port, for example, there's on the other side of the port, there's a panel and you can remove it, and there's a selector valve, so you can select it's basically before the water pump intake side, so you can select whether you want to draw from the fresh water tank with the water pump or through that port. So to winterize, you would select that port and then draw the antifreeze in through that. Of course, you bypass your water heater before that. So don't forget to bypass your water heater. Make sure you inspect your roof at least 3 times a year, or have somebody do it. That's very important. That's not just this trailer. It's every trailer ever made. It's very important to do that. So thank you very much for purchasing your trailer from National RV Detroit, and make sure you plan ahead and do a lot of camping. Thank you.